Hey, what's going on, everybody? Abe here, and I just finished The Last of Us 2, and I thought, what better way to get my thoughts out than in a video? So, first, let me just say that I really, really enjoyed the first The Last of Us. It was one of my favorite PlayStation 3 games of all time, and one of the games I still, to this day, recommend to people who are getting into gaming. I just think it's a real good game and a good story, and that's just it. Now, The Last of Us Part 2. Never in my life have I wished a sequel never existed. Not for the game. The game itself, the way it plays and everything is pretty good, but the story, in my opinion, is just abysmal. I hated the story. I hated it so much I felt like it tainted the love I have for the first game. That's how bad, in my opinion, I think the story is. But I'm not just going to leave it like that. I'm going to dive deeper into why I feel that way. So, big warning, if you are not familiar with The Last of Us Part 1 or Part 2, you might want to turn away from the video because it's going to be very, very spoiler heavy, because what better way to talk about the story than talking about the story. Now, let me dive into why this sequel, in my opinion, is complete trash. Now, right off the bat, after you're introduced to all of the supporting cast, which in my opinion are very, very one dimension, you got Jesse, you got Dina, and you even got Tommy, who is reappearing from the old game. But this is not my Tommy. Hashtag not my Tommy. This is some bastardized version of Tommy. But right off the beginning, you're introduced to these Scooby-Doo kids, and by luck, by just pure luck, they happen to capture Joel and murder him, torture him, and murder him. And obviously, you find out later in the game, it's because of what he did in the previous game. These are former Fireflies getting their revenge. And that's going to be a big theme about this game, revenge. Revenge is bad for people who didn't know. I knew, and I feel a lot of the audience knew, but the game really needs to hit home that revenge is bad. So this no-name, well, let's give her a name, Abby. She murders Joel. And from this point on, as the player, as me, I hate Abby. I dislike Abby. From this point on, Abby is on my shit list. Because she killed Joel. She killed me, the player of the previous game. I am now dead because of Abby. I hate her. And the game then proceeds to let you play as Abby. Like, a large chunk of the game is you playing as Abby. And the game does a lot to kind of make you like Abby. It forces you to relive a part of her childhood where her dad saves a zebra, and it forces you to relive a whole bunch of her past actions with her at the time boyfriend. And then you're just palling around as the wolf pack playing fetch with your dog. There was a lot of these little instances where the game it felt like it was forcing you to like Abby and dislike Ellie, which in my opinion wasn't going to happen. And it wasn't going to happen for me. It was never going to happen because of how much I love the first game and the relationship between Ellie and Joel. I know they're flawed people. I know they're bad. I know what I did in the first game, and I was okay with it. I know it was messed up, but I was okay with it. This game, it's trying to make me feel bad about not only the choices that I made in the previous game, but all the choices that I'm making in this one and gonna make as the game plays. In the end, it's not a fun experience. It's an experience, and the game as a game itself, the environments, the discovery, the picking up, the looting, the shooting, that's fun. But the story is not a fun time. It's very, very not fun. Very not fun. Not fun. Not fun, Naughty Dog. Get better. For example, a majority of the game you're playing as Abby. And as I said before, I don't like Abby. I really, really don't like Abby. She killed Joel. I'm never going to like Abby. No matter how much you show me of Abby, I'm never going to like Abby. But no, the game forces you to see things from her perspective, from her point of view, and go through her redemption arcs, which honestly I don't care through. For the majority of the Abby portions, I wasn't playing it stealthily. I was just making a beeline just to get to the end of it. Running and gunning, playing completely the opposite of how I played as Ellie. There were even sections where I purposely let myself fail just to see what would happen to Abby. But back to the story. So after Joel's death, the game makes you believe like it's just going to go on a revenge tale, that Ellie's going to get a list of all these people. She's going to hunt them down, kill them. And at the end, you're going to find Abby, the girl who killed Joel, and get her. And that's what the game's shaping up to be. And everyone's, more or less along for the ride. They're cool with it. They understand this needs to happen. And as the player, I'm like, all right, cool. And let me take a step back. I'm actually okay with the fact that they got rid of Joel that early in the game. Honestly, as soon as I started playing the game, I was just counting the seconds away for Joel's demise. I had a big, strong feeling Joel wasn't going to make it to the end of the game. I actually applaud Naughty Dog for having the courage to get rid of him in the beginning, just to get it out of the way. They did it. But everything afterwards, it just wasn't satisfying. It wasn't satisfying to the point that justified the need to get rid of Joel so early. So the revenge tale is going out, and you're traveling to all these places, picking off all of Abby's friends one by one, getting more information about her. Then comes, in my opinion, one of the biggest red flags of the entire game. There comes a point where after you murder a bunch of Abby's friends, she gets the drop on you. And after unceremoniously taking out Jesse with a beautifully timed placed headshot, you get this kind of standoff where she has Ellie at gunpoint, and all of a sudden you're taken back in time. You're thrust back in the past, where you're playing as Abby for the next 10 hours at least. And the way that the game does this, I just feel it just handled it so poorly, so poorly. First, all the tension is gone. The actual mystery and tension and drama between these characters are gone, because I've already killed half of them as Ellie. The other half, I believe, Tommy got to at some point, and I wasn't even around to see. And the other ones, considering that I didn't see them at that standoff, I don't believe they're around anymore. The fact that they're doing all these time jumps 4 months before, 1 day after, 2 years before, here's today, here's tomorrow, it killed all the tension and drama I had for these characters and their safety. Because if I already knew what was going to happen on day 3, the drama and tension of day 1 doesn't exist, because I know how it's going to end. The only real benefit of that is us as the audience gets to know things that the characters don't know. For example, the dog, which, in my opinion, is a dick move. Right before you get to the whole flashback sequence, you're forced to kill a dog. And then the game has the audacity to be mad at you for killing the dog it forced you to kill. And all these past section, like running around with Abby, I feel they made no sense to do at this part of the game. They would have been, in my opinion, pretty cool to do in the beginning of the game before you're even reintroduced to Ellie or Joel or anyone. That way you get more of Abby's backstory before she carries out her mission to hunt down and assassinate / torture Joel. The way that they structured it all, it seemed a little asinine, because you're introduced to Abby as a bad person, as someone that you and Ellie both hate. And then you're forced to see things from her perspective, which I didn't really like, honestly. I get what the game was going for. It was trying to show that all these characters, there's no good and bad, that there's 50 shades of gray. Everyone's ambiguous in their goodness or badness. But I felt it was pretty unnecessary to use this entire game just to stress home the point that revenge is bad. Like, okay, cool, but you guys forced me to revenge. I knew it was bad, but I was cool with the ride because, I like Ellie. I was cool with it, but I know it's bad. I felt like the message was kind of lost. And then the second red flag, in my opinion, was the whole child sub-B story with Abby. At some point in the game, Abby is rescued by 2 children. She's rescued by 2 scars, some cultist type faction in the game that exist. All right, there's a war going on between the cultists and the paramilitary pseudo-organized people. That's happening in the background. Cool. World building is awesome. I enjoyed it. I wish it was a little more detailed and in-depth and didn't Deus Ex itself out of existence, but cool. Anyway, at some point, you're introduced to these kids, and Abby makes it her lifelong mission to get these kids to safety and make sure that everything's all hunky-dory with them, which leads into 6 hours of the 10-hour Abby section, which involves getting medicine for Kid A and tracking down Kid B and rescuing them from the military island. And in my opinion, I didn't understand the need for me, the player, to watch all that happen while knowing that everyone's in this Mexican standoff period. Like, I felt there was no rush of urgency for me to play those sections of the game, and it just felt so out of place. Like, why am I playing it now? Why am I playing it now? At some point, all the red flags start disappearing, and everyone gets a sense of the picture, and you get back to the standoff period. And then the game has the nerve to make you do a boss fight against Ellie as Abby. And I'll be honest, I failed a few of those QuickTime events just to see Abby get her ass kicked by Ellie, because I just wanted to see that happen personally. I was sick of Abby at this point, and I just wanted to see something other than a clicker take her out. But you're forced to kick Ellie's ass. You are. And then for the second time in the game, Abby lets Ellie go. Like, she lets her get away with it, which I don't understand the reasoning. I don't feel that there was. I don't understand it. The game does a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the game that's just it's just not believable. Starting from the beginning, the fact that Joel gets caught by all those Scooby-Doo kids, I don't believe it. It's Joel. It's the player from the first game. He's a badass. He knows he's being hunted by a lot of people. He was a smuggler before he even met Ellie. So I don't believe he would just so willingly walk into a building filled with strangers, regardless if he was being chased by a horde or not. And then there's just a whole bunch of random lucky circumstances that just happened in the game. Abby meeting up with Levin's sister. That was completely random. Abby happening to find the map that Ellie happened to drop because she was stressful. That was just a stroke of luck. The fact that Abby, a wolf member, happened to meet up with the wolf leader at this island in the middle of a war right after she gut shot one of her Scar partners. A lot of stuff just seemed to just happen by random acts of God, and it was just too lucky. Too wow, what a lucky break right there, isn't it? Too many things were just like, oh, Ellie, I'm pregnant. Like, there was just too much things happening. And I get what Naughty Dog was trying to do. They were trying to do some relation with Abby, Ellie, her father, Joel, her surrogate father. They were trying to do some relation where it was Joel took away from Abby what Abby eventually takes away from Ellie. And it's a vicious cycle of hate and revenge, and there's no goodness at the end, and you're just going to be tortured with your past, and there's nothing. It's bad revenge, bad revenge. But, it wasn't satisfying to me. The story just wasn't satisfying at all. It just really wasn't satisfying. Then after Ellie gets her ass, kicked by CrossFit Babe, you're greeted to, another time skip where Ellie's now on a farm raising babies and loving her wife. And it just seems so out of like it was too good to be true. This is cute, but all right. I thought the game was going to end there, honestly. The game could have ended there. Still, in my opinion, wouldn't have been good. But it could have ended there in that ambiguous, things aren't satisfying. But no, the game had another, I guess, like 5 hours to go, where you're introduced to Abby and her mission to reunite with the Fireflies, and Ellie and her mission to not let bygones be bygones and hunt down Abby. And spoiler alert, as I said in the beginning of the video, Abby doesn't find the Firefly. She ends up getting kidnapped by the Snake Gang for 4 months. And Ellie, who ends up tracking down Abby, which is a miracle, has like a fist fight with her in, knee-high water. And lets her go because she realizes that revenge is bad. And at the end, she's treated to her fingers bitten off, so she can't play the song that Joel left her with. So Abby, yet again, took something else from Ellie. Not just the memory and the good times that she had with Joel, but the ability to play music, which Joel once taught her. So, way to go, Abby. Not only did Abby ruin a series for me, not only did Abby kill Joel, and not only did Abby waste a large portion of my time by making me play a video game as her, but Abby successfully ruined Ellie's life. Ellie did ruin Abby's life in terms of, existing and murdering her friends. But honestly, I don't really care about Abby. So, Team Ellie all the way. But that's my rough thoughts on the game. I'm just rambling, honestly. I genuinely did not like it. And the fact that I kind of isolated myself from the internet for like 7 days during the game's release to be spoiler free, like, the hell did I do that for, man? Man, I'm bummed out. It feels like the last season of Game of Thrones all over again. Like, visually, though, looks great. There are sections of the game that are fun to play, but, the story was such a not only just a bummer, but just like a not fun thing for me. And I really didn't like playing as Abby. I never had a character me as the player controlled that I didn't like. Like, the Joker is a villain, but people enjoy playing as the Joker because it's an interesting character, and despite the flaws, you can kind of see where they're going for, and you're not rooting for him, but you're like, hey, I get what you're going for, dude. Kind of, yeah, meh. Abby had nothing. It was like, Abby. It was like it was a chore to play with her. I just genuinely did not like her character at all. Ugh. Man, they ruined it. Well, they should have stuck with their original plan, and they make a sequel that had nothing to do with Joel or Ellie. Like, just have them as, maybe something you find in writing or afterthoughts, or I don't know, you play the whole game as Abby, and the twist at the end is you're hunting Joel the entire time. Like, there were ways to do it better, and I do agree. I do think that the world of The Last of Us is insanely interesting. I love the world. The world is the best character that the game has to offer. So exploring more of the world is like, I want that. I want that. But in my opinion, the game, like, no replay value, in my opinion. There's nothing more to unlock. I know what happens at the end, and it's not satisfying. So the journey to me the journey's not fun. The ending wasn't fun. And yeah, I don't know. Whew. Anyway, that was my thoughts. I can't understand how people rated it a 10. Honestly, I as a standalone title or as a sequel, a perfect game, I can't understand. I can understand people enjoying the story and the diverse cast of characters, gameplay, and all that. Like, visually, the game is insane. But a perfect? No. But, people have their opinions. Who am I to judge, yo? Hey, I don't like chocolate ice cream. I like strawberry ice cream. There's people that love chocolate ice cream. So, I don't know. Who am I to judge? People have opinions, but man, did I not like that game. I really, really did not like that game. So, you know how upset I am? I'm so upset I made this video. That's how upset I am. Anyway, that's all I have to say. If you enjoyed the first The Last of Us, just leave it there, man. Enjoy that. This game, I don't think needed to exist. It was a little too much, in my opinion. But it does, and this is the new reality. This is canon. My head canon, the game ended with the first one. Okay. See you guys in the next one.